Psalm 127:3. Children are a heritage from the Lord, offspring a reward from Him. This suggests children are a precious gift from God to be valued and cared for.
In the United States, a child a minute is taken into DHS, CPS, and so on custody. The reality is their pics are already selected, you just don't know it. Being perfect no longer matters. It's what the adopting families are looking for.
Who is it stealing the children, you ask?
From caseworker to the White House, the buck stops at all levels, just not where it is supposed to be. The services your family needs, we the people have paid for to ensure your reunification. Title 4 says, reunify at all costs. United, we stand means nothing to us when it comes to family values. Children are being ripped away from their families. Parents are reverting to addictive behaviors to cover the pain. The trauma caused by child removal is just being recognized, and the results are atrocious. Termination of parental rights is not healthy for anyone, just profitable for the people enforcing the lie.
It's time Washington listens to the cries of our children, the wails of their mothers, and the rage growing in the fathers. These are our children. Keep your damn hands off them. We are coming to act on the behalf of the children God gave us to protect, and you kidnapped.
That's me in the very beginning. Now I am a baby and getting zoomed from my mom to my birthday. I don't remember a lot about my younger life, but I remember it was fun and I felt so safe. My mom and dad always happy. I guess my mom's sister was mad that my dad was so great, so she called the police and said he hit my mom. We were all reading and they came. I heard my dad yelling, "There, no way!" My mom was crying loudly. Some lady took us away. The court said my parents abused and neglected us. They only loved us. The caseworker lied. I never saw my parents again. I'm still hoping one day they come. I am a victim of CPS and so are my parents. We need to find justice in all of this madness for all of us that are being abused. It's not fair. Every kid I know has a mom and dad. I know they miss me. I bet they fight every day for me to come home.
Don't get caught like us. Know your rights.
In the United States, CPS makes upwards of $3 billion per day on trafficking and selling our children. The corruption may start with the caseworker, but goes through the judicial system, passing the governor through the Senate and into the White House. The entire system has a hand in the business known as CPS.
Our children are stolen every minute of a 24-hour day. They are being robbed of their innocence, their trust, their happiness. As parents, we are isolated and betrayed by a government we trust. States are balancing budgets on kids' lives. Only 12% of the kids taken will be reunified. Title 4 funding is being riveted with fraud.
We need to stop CPS and abolish CPS.com is leading the way. Join us.
right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of CPS Victims Hunting for Justice. I am your host, CPS Punisher, and good evening. Boy, where to even begin? I know last night we had Jeff Glazer on, a guy that's really, with his heart, he's running for office. He's going to be hopefully the next sheriff up there in Cass County, Michigan. Make sure that you guys pay attention to April 6th. April 6th voting there for the primaries for him. He needs every help that he can get. So if you happen to know somebody in Cass County, Michigan that votes, please make sure you let someone know about what he's doing and what he's about. So Connie Reguli, who we had on here last week, possibly she'll be stopping in tonight. She has given me a piece of literature to read and share with you guys. This talks about her bill that she's trying to get through the Tennessee Senate. Let's see here. Let me see if I can just share the screen with you guys while I read this here. Actually, I know I can. Let's just see how well I can do it. Let's see. Share the screen. Tennessee Rights. I'm getting so much better at this. Thank you all for your patience. All right. So I believe that if I'm right, we can all see this. And here I am. So we can see me and we can see what I'm reading. Perfect. All right. The Tennessee's Family Rights Bill, The Great Deception by Connie Reguli. This year started with 3 proposed bills for parental rights, each carrying its own variety of rights for parents versus rights for the government. Each sent a wave of anxiety through the grassroots parental rights groups and an air of excitement in large nationally conservative branded organizations like Americans for Prosperity, Eagle Forum, and Alliance for Defending Freedom. And now we know the winner is Jeremy Fassens, R. Cosby, HB 2936, and Farrell Hale, R. Gallatin, SB 2749, which passed in civil justice on Tuesday, April 2nd, and moves to the House floor, with final versions being the Senate Amendment, SAO 860. The fiscal note on this bill indicates that there will be an insignificant impact on taxpayers because any additional duties cast on the Department of Children's Services, the courts, the Attorney General, and the Department of Health will be accommodated or absorbed using existing resources. The fiscal impact, not significant. Assumptions. Any additional AG duties resulting from proposed legislature will be absorbed using existing resources. Based on information provided by the Department of Children's Services, the proposed legislation will not impact the policies or procedures of the department or result in any additional revenue or expenditures. The Department of Health and Human Related Boards can comply with the legislation within existing personnel and resources. Any increase in disciplinary hearings as a result of the legislation is estimated to be not significant. Any additional workload on the courts as a result of this legislation can be accommodated within existing resources and personnel. The passage of this legislation has been a battlefield through the Children and Family Affairs Subcommittee and the Civil Justice Committee in the House and the Senate Judiciary Committee. Citizens have spoken against the bill, describing how this legislation actually carves away parental rights that are already guaranteed by the Constitution, while Alliance Defending Freedom has spoken in every committee touting this Tennessee legislation as being consistent with parental rights legislation in 17 other states. ADF felt so strongly about promoting this bill that they brought Michael Ferris from Washington, D.C. to convince the House subcommittee to vote for the passage. Now, here's the truth. First, ADF was not truthful. There are not 17 other states that have passed substantially similar legislations. 19 states have some sort of parental rights legislation that proclaim that parenting is a fundamental right protected by the Constitution. West Virginia's first bill was passed in 1931, shortly after the United States Supreme Court recognized parental rights in 1923, Meyer versus Nebraska. Several states began to follow suit to codify parental rights, but in a fairly straightforward fashion, stating that parental rights are a fundamental right protected by the United States Constitution. 5 states have passed parental rights bills since 2021: Florida, Montana, Georgia, North Dakota, Iowa, Alabama, and North Carolina. In this last tranche of parental rights legislation, the bills have taken a darker, more restrictive approach in what's considered positive law. Little by little, exceptions are carved out as to when parental rights do not apply. These bills are increasingly allowing states' rights to trump parental rights, strengthening the parents' patriot doctrine. However, here are the significant distinctions in Tennessee. In 13 states, a parent is a parent, period. A few suggest that guardians have parental rights, which they don't. Tennessee will codify that a parent can be any individual who has been granted decision-making power. It does not say a person that the parent has voluntarily assigned decision-making power over their child. Parent means biological, legal, or adoptive parent, or an individual who has been granted decision-making authority over the child under state law. Granted decision-making power means one thing. It means that a court, a judge, an administrative agency can take parental rights away and give them to someone else. There is no required burden of proof in this legislation. So this phrase alone has gutted the constitutional protections of parental rights already, ruled on and in the United States Supreme Court, that requires the finding that a parent is unfit with a high standard of proof before the government can interfere with a parent's fundamental right to raise their children. Second, the Tennessee law provides for blanket consent, which means that everything that your child is involved in, education, healthcare, mental health treatment, extracurricular activities, sports, maybe even birthday parties, will include fine print of blanket consent and a waiver of liability. Guaranteed, parents will be unaware because it will be hidden within the context of the agreement to participate in any activity with your child. Only one other state has a codified blanket consent, that's Colorado. Third, Tennessee is leaping further than any other state law in giving corporations and commercial entities, include those created in other states and countries, as an exemption from liability to providing emergency care for children, whatever and whoever decides what arises to emergency. Person means an individual, corporation, or any other legal or commercial entity, whether or not a citizen is domiciliary for this state and whether or not organized under the laws of the state. Proponents of this legislation are excited to see a cause of action for parents to sue anyone, including government employees and medical personnel, if they violate this enumerated parental rights outlined in this bill. Parents have been faced with so many challenges in recent years that they feel helpless in getting relief. In a handful of cases, parents have attempted to file lawsuits regarding inappropriate materials in libraries or diversity and inclusion curriculum. They found out that they lacked standing, meaning there was no right to sue under the law. Now proponents of this bill, i.e. ADF, are excited to boast that Tennessee has the best parental bill in the country because of a parent's right to sue and a right to attorney fees in litigation. This is the catch. ADF lobbied for this bill. ADF is an organization that appears as two different entities, Alliance Defending Freedom and ADF Foundation. Both have legal addresses of 15100 North 90th Street in Scottsdale, Arizona. Alliance Defending Freedom's 990 tax return for 2021 shows revenues of $104 million, with nearly $3 million collected in attorney's fees. ADF pays Michael Ferris over $625,000 a year. ADF Foundation shows 2021 revenue of $1.6 million, and it also pays Michael Ferris $625,000 a year. That's right, Michael Ferris is getting paid more than $1 million a year to defend freedom. The Tennessee's Family Rights and Responsibilities Act of 2024 is not about codifying what the United States Supreme Court has already granted us. It is a product of sniffing out achievable attorney fees for ADF, period. Imagine, if you will, you have a son named Johnny, and you find out that the school official has been calling him Julie because your son said he felt like he was a girl. Now you call ADF. They bring Tennessee a host of lawyers, let's say 5 or 6. They bring a lawsuit against the teacher and the LEA, local education agency, in your county. ADF files the lawsuit in the state court in your county, let's say Grundy County, the poorest in Tennessee. Let's say that judge finds that yes, the school official did that. What are the damages? State court judges in Tennessee are not going to award parents millions of dollars for this kind of case. In fact, there's no way to measure damages in this litigation except for attorney's fees. This bill does not even give you the right to a jury trial, so you can plead how emotionally distraught you were to tug at the heartstrings of fellow parents. Nope. The state court judge... Oh, excuse me, I lost my way here. The state court judge... Or attorney's fees, there's no... Okay. I'm sorry. State court... In fact, there's no way to measure. The bill does not even give you the right to a jury. Nope. All right, sorry about that. The state court judge who knows that any damage award could affect the taxpayer dollars available and his constituent students is going to minimize the monetary award to a parent. However, the judge must award attorney fees to ADF. And if there is no cap on these fees, the judge must award the entire amount of fees, which is likely to be thousands and even hundreds of thousands of dollars. For conservatives who believe that this bill is going to solidify parental rights in the state of Tennessee and protect children from predators who infringe upon the parents' rights to consent to education, medical care, mental health treatments, and more, the bill enumerated 1 through 12. You are wrong. This bill is a product or an onslaught of useless litigation that will burden Tennessee taxpayers with legal fees payable to ADF. Schools, LEAs will be pinched with the unexpected expense of thousands of dollars in attorney's fees like to be paid to ADF or one of its affiliates. We have marketed away our precious children in Tennessee one more time. This bill moves to the House floor and then to Governor Bill Lee. Contact your state legislator and ask them to vote no. All right, guys. So that's Connie Raguli's bill for, not her bill, for the state of Tennessee. Like she's saying here, there's nothing about parental rights going on in there. This is all about ADF getting their money. This is where this goes to the sickness of what's going on. This shows what you really need to be paying attention to when you are when you're voting this upcoming election. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible travesty that so many people are making so much money off of parents like us that are sitting here in tears night after night, holding each other up if you're still fortunate enough to be together, making ends meet because you paid every dime to your attorneys that you had. You're now living in an apartment. You're trying to maintain a job that you may be able to and you may be able not to because of either, first of all, the request of DHS, CPS, DHHS, whatever you want to call those kidnappers in your state. If you can keep up to their requests and keep yourself maintaining their schedules and keep your job, kudos to you. If you've gone through all of this and you've gotten your rights terminated, there's physically and mentally almost next to impossible to maintain a 40-hour work week without collapsing, without having a problem with your own mental abilities, thinking about your child, thinking about what your child's doing. The destruction that is caused by this stuff it's immense. And people that haven't been there, I hope that you never are there, but I hope that you people start to open your eyes and understand what people that have gone through this are feeling, how their emotions are, what it means to these people when they have their rights terminated from their child. You see, when you have your rights terminated from your child, that means you are no longer the parent to that child. That means you never again get to see your child, your flesh and blood, your everything. It could have been a miracle from God. It could have been an accident that you became beloved. It could have been however that child was created, that was still your child. And to have to go into a courtroom one day and have the people that are standing there that barely know you, that really know nothing about you, let alone they're going to sit there and make their own opinions based off of a few seconds of interviewing you and your family. They're going to get the grungy good stuff that your neighbor that doesn't like you gives you. They're going to use that against you in your court hearing, which isn't even the true family value you. It's time that you people that don't have this going on in your life at least start to understand what it's like. When we lose our rights to a TPR, I say, and this is my opinion only, but it's worse than having your child die because of the fact you get no closure. Every day until that child is of the age of 18, you wonder what they're doing. how they're feeling. Are they being treated right? Are they in school? What are they doing in school? What did they eat for lunch? The list goes on and on. They don't leave your memory. They don't. This TPR and what happens to you does not give you an opportunity to grieve. And here's the next question. Should you be grieving when you're a TPR? I mean, what is the protocol for that? How do you grieve? How do you grieve when your child is still alive, is still possibly looking for you? How do you grieve? What do you do in this situation? No one talks about this stuff. I mean, there's a few people out there that do take care of these things and that they do look into them. Arent Carranza is one of them. She tries to help you prepare yourself for the damages done by CPS to you and your children when they reunite you, if you get reunited. But what about the parent that's been left out in the dark and they've been TPR'd and their family's been destroyed, their wife's left them or their husband's left them, they've lost their job, they've done all of these things that they thought they would do to get their kids back, and still the only thing they are is down on the ground. That's it. What do you do? How do you act? Well, you look around for the people that are supposed to be there to stand up for you. We all know those people are not there. The people that are supposed to be there for you, they're not there. They've all left you. They all think that you're a bad person, that you've done whatever these accusations are that CPS has labeled you for. They don't listen to you. They don't listen to what you have to say. They barely give you the time of day to even welcome yourself into their presence. Your friends, gone. No one wants to be around you because they don't want the stigma that is attached to you now for losing your kid to CPS to rub off on them. They don't want to deal with the hard questions, or they don't want to deal with scooting around questions when they're around you on holidays. That I understand. But is that fair? Absolutely not. Lifelong friends gone at a whim, not even willing to give you a chance to redeem yourself. And I say that heavy-handedly because if you don't have to redeem yourself, if your cases were brought up on lies and deceit and all of this other malarkey that these caseworkers pull up on us, you don't even have to defend yourself. Why should you have to defend yourself? You don't. Don't feel that way. This is the responsibility of the neighbor that is supposed to be there for you to pick you up and hold you up in this time of need. This is the responsibility of your brothers and your nieces and your nephews and your uncles and everybody else in your family. Instead of abandoning you, they're supposed to be there for you. But they're not. And it should be a shame on all of these people in our lives that you thought, sure, if you ever needed them to be by your side, that this would be the time, and they're not there, and they never will be. And there's not a handful of people out there that are going to tell me that it's any different in their lives now that they've gone through the CPS system. You're just not, because I know, I talk to a lot of people every day. This is what's happening to everybody. So please, people, you need to have an open mind to what's going on. When you hear these bills, don't say it's the crybaby parents that beat their children, so yada, 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 and don't pay attention to the bill. No, pay attention to that bill, because you should be there saying, wow, this are those parents that had their kids stolen from them, and now our government is trying to trickle money into the hands of other people to steal it away from where it's due, rightfully so. You know what? That is in our children's pockets who have been TPR. Yes, us parents deserve something too, but first and foremost is our children. Our children deserve every dime this system can spit out to put in their pockets for the trauma that they will feel for the rest of their lives. Because we don't talk about that. We don't talk about the trauma. You know, they say it's bad enough when a baby comes out of the womb into the birthing canal and it hits the air for the first time, screaming and crying and not knowing what's going on. Now they've gotten past that, and these CPS agents come and tear them away from another permanent, safe, loving feeling that they've become accustomed to. They're only capable of doing this so many times, and I think the number is 2. because results that are starting to show what's going on with the removal are not good, and it's showing that these children are destroyed when they age out. When they age out at the age of 18, they're toast. They have no faith, they have no security, they have no self-esteem, they don't even know who they are. There's a whole list of cons that go with them removing a child from a home. So how is it that we allow our court systems to rule on such minimal information, such bare fact minimum, even though it's supposed to be, above the highest threshold? They use a preponderance amount of evidence. You know what that means? It means hearsay. That means that they don't even have to have the facts, or even, that's not even like maybe so. That's like, hey, Joe Blow Dick down the street said that this girl went out and walked around one night with one shoe on, and that's enough for CPS to come in your life. And Joe Blow Dick has never even seen your kid. That's how much they're weighing on this. That's how important this stuff is not to the court systems, because they love the money. It's awful. So pay attention. When bills like this come up, and people are asking you if you know about it, you need to damn well say, yes, I do. I've read every lick of it, and I need to make sure that these children that have been taken from these parents irresponsibly are the ones that are going to get this damn money, because that's only right. They deserve it, and they didn't do anything wrong to get this. I'm going to take a quick break for you guys. Right, sorry about that. I'm back here. Melissa's on a different location. She's on an assignment tonight at the Hard Rock Casino with her family, so she's joining us remotely. Let's see if Melissa's here with us. Melissa, are you here with us?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
All right. I'm sorry. Sorry, I took that little time to do my little rant there, but I felt like I had to get it out. I don't know if you heard any of it, or if you heard any of the stuff going on with Connie's bill or not Connie's bill.
I listened to the whole thing, and she's absolutely right. We need to stop and take the time to read these bills that sound like they're for families first, and they have nothing to do with families. They have to do with an extra way to line the pockets of the politicians, the crooks, the judges, the court-appointed counsel that can really give a shit whether a family's put back together. I mean, right. The whole thing is just a screwed system.
Yeah, it starts, and see, this is where we got to give power back to the people. I know everybody says it's a sham, we can't do this, but look, there's a lot of us. There's a lot of us out there that have had our rights stomped on by CPS. There's way more of us than them. That's for damn sure. And if we all would just focus, put our strengths together, pay attention, see what we've got going on for ourselves, report these things accurately, we could beat this. We really could beat this. There's millions of us, millions and millions of us that have been affected by CPS and their wrongdoings in our households. We could do this.
Absolutely. If families would band together and we could all literally make a list, all the victims, put their name on a list. And if we all band together and we start going to different state council meetings, governor's cabinet, Congress, all of that, it would make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, every place that we could go to get our voice heard would be huge. Even if it's just telling your neighbor something, even if it's just relaying the message to get them out there to go and vote. If it's to get, it's just so damn important. It's just so important because otherwise they're going to keep just jamming this stuff up our asses. That this is just a bunch of money that doesn't need to go anywhere other than in someone's pocket that deserves it, that's been in this fight, and for them to just sit there and tirelessly waste this money, it's just asinine, and people need to pay attention. I actually have a list here that I wrote for my newsletter. Let me get this open here for a second. I have a list here that I wrote for this newsletter about different on the site, the abolishcps.com site, where it talks about I talk about the people that are running for office and what their attachment is to their positions. It's pretty cool. Let me see here. I wrote this all, like it's in writing format, so it's like telling the story, but let me see here. RC welfare case, okay. Let's see. It says the candidates vowing to dismantle the Child Protective Services system. Let's see. At the forefront is James Bradshaw, the front runner for the Republican nomination of Florida's wide open race for governor. Bradshaw has made dismantling the state CPS system and replacing it with a family preservation model a tentpole of his campaign. His policy platform calls for effectively abolishing the existing Department of Children and Families that oversees child welfare investigation and termination of parental rights. He says that the current system is dysfunctional, unconstitutional, menace that has corrupted its original intent to protect children. He says, we will dismantle this despicable child separation machine and instead empower families with resources, counseling, and supportive services they need to stay together. Bradshaw also proposes reoccurring at-home visits for social workers, substance treatment, financial assistance, and other voluntary support programs that, rather than having CPS agencies focusing on taking children and terminating rights. That's the thing, Melissa, is there are so many people out there that aren't pushing on or leaning on the Title IV funding that is supposed to be to help families reunify, and that money is supposed to be used at all costs. So like if you're behind in your rent, that money is supposed to go to helping you with your rent. If you're behind in this, you know what I mean? Like all of these extra avenues that there's so much money that they're just pouring into what CPS is and DHS is in each state, that they're not pouring it into what they're supposed to be doing. And that's comforting these families to get them prepared and ready to be back to being a solid family unit if they needed to be taken apart to begin with. There's money all over the place for this stuff.
Well, my thing is the money is put there to work the services to reunify. Inpatient treatment for families with drug issues, the proper family counseling, marriage counseling if it's an issue of families fighting. How often do you really hear of them putting the parent in an inpatient treatment program or putting a family in couples counseling? You don't hear of real services to benefit the family. And I've been doing some research today, like on my case, where they just shit canned all the workers. There's a bunch of case law in Alabama where it's literally been made a constitutional argument to the point that there is a huge abundance of case law in my state because shit canning the workers before court so that they can't testify seems to be a big deal when families are doing well.
Okay. I mean, that's obviously...
So, and the thing, and what I found is they actually throw out the case if the workers can't show up and testify under the right to cross-examine under the Sixth Amendment.
Yeah, I mean, how not? I mean, how can they not throw the case out? clearly with your case especially, this is nothing more than them throwing in the wrenches, bringing back, hashing up bad memories. Your kids have been gone for over 2 years, and there hasn't been a peep from any judicial standpoint. And now all of a sudden, they're going to come and flip your kids have been used to the same family members, or not family members, but to them that was their family, the only family that they knew at the time. They've been using them for 2 years, and because of retaliation, they flip you, and they flip your family, and then they say, oh yeah, and guess what? The caseworkers are gone now too, and we're going to court next week. What? How can that even be possible? I talked to a girl last night that she filed a bunch of paperwork. I think you might know her. I don't want to say her name, but I'm pretty sure that you do know her. But she had it with what they had been challenging with the reunification and trying to get her son back home. And because she went and one of the arguments where they wanted to see a copy of her driver's license again or something stupid like that, and she was like, no, you guys already have plenty of information, you've done my background check, yada yada yada, use your powers and figure it out for you, I'm done doing the work for you type of stuff, because this girl's gone through a lot and she's had enough. 2 days later she got notification that they were terminating her parental rights instead of focusing on reunification. She has court.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. That's the kind of shit they're pulling with us.
Right.
Like, they're not arguing that we've done anything wrong. They're not arguing that we have failed to comply. And now they've stuck us with the one woman that they know that we absolutely will not comply with. I mean,
Right.
this bitch threw me out of the hospital an hour after my kid was born.
Yeah. I can't believe
if
they brought her back.
If she shows up on my property to do a home inspection and I'm not there, dude, JR is going to go ballistic.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll be calling you like, hey, Darren, we need to do a fundraiser.
Do something. Someone's in jail. Not that we're promoting
Right.
that or condoning that, but just saying.
Well, and I straightforward told the supervisor, I said, look, if this worker comes to my house, she will be told to leave. Anything this worker asks me to do, she will be essentially told to screw off.
What? Have you thought about going to get a no trespass on her?
Well, I have a no trespass sign hanging on my driveway. So technically, she is supposed to ask permission. Oh, Judge Hyde ain't going to issue that. The judge is, as corrupt as the rest of them.
Right, but maybe if you throw some heat at him, maybe he'll. I don't know.
No.
Just
Pretty much. So here's what I found out today is, and I found this out from Richard because I was talking to Richard, the attorney, earlier. What I found out is the state attorney general does not plan to appear. They're allowing the judge to handle the case. The judge will be ruling on constitutional argument. Therefore, we get to hold a 1983 argument right in the court on the 18th. Everything's going to be based off a constitutional argument. And the judge gets to make a ruling.
Wow. That's going to be pretty awesome. It's going to be...
Yeah.
I wanted to just ask you what I just wanted to ask you what your plan was, but I realized that wouldn't be the right.
Well, actually, the plan is to go there, open my mouth, and hope the right words come out.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, you've done this. You've been involved with this stuff long enough to know what you need to know and what you have to do when you go into that courtroom. I mean, look at what Josie did. Josie went in and fired away, and now look at her. She's in the front of her. She's in front of her case now. And right. I would love to see her next week go in there, kick ass, and put those people in handcuffs to her daughter.
Well, so I am currently waiting for Richard to send me a copy of his constitutional complaint. And even though Yancey's my attorney on it, I actually plan to write my own response, my own constitutional response, to be a co-complaint.
Yeah.
We're going to hear it out on the 18th. The judge has already said he's not stopping till the hearing's done. He don't care if it ends at midnight. And he says we will not leave that court that day without a ruling.
Hopefully that ruling is not a continuance.
No, I don't think it'll be a continuance.
Right.
You know, he knows enough about the corruption of that county. That's why he became a judge, was to stop the corruption. And he loves constitutional argument. And he's a no bullshit kind of person. So I'm just hoping that the truth and law prevails, period.
Right.
Bar none.
I mean, I don't know what it's trying to prevail from. There's not even any accusations of abuse or neglect. But yeah, hopefully that's...
No, but I'll tell you what.
Right.
They are preparing for World War III. I can guarantee you that much, because the reason I say this is they're trying to subpoena Sarah from Michigan to come testify. They've shit-canned 3 major workers so that they can't testify, and they're trying to drag up shit that shouldn't even be allowed into this hearing.
Right.
But that is their goal, is to muddy the water to the point that this judge hates me. Well, it ain't gonna work.
No, put on your nicest dress, go in there with a smile, and who your knowledge. That's what you gotta do. Remember, how are we doing this evening, buddy?
Good. How you doing? I'm just listening to you guys.
Yeah, we're just kind of chit-chatting about a little bit of everything, and how people need to really wake up and pay attention to what's going on in this whole race of elections coming up, and just pretty much just a little powwow here. What do you got any 2 cents to add in here?
Yeah. What? I've been following you guys. I've been making my little fishing bait with people in various states about stuff dealing with CPS.
Job, by the way, of doing all that, getting that information. I said you do a great job getting that information for us. You really do. You do above and beyond. That's really awesome. Thank you for that.
Well, what it is I'm trying to understand. This thing is so big that it's like you don't hear about it.
Right. It's worse.
And
it's bigger.
Well,
it's like the
CPS has the world's best PR company.
Well, I think it's just
No, Melissa, what I'm talking about is you would think parents in supermarkets, you'll be hearing chitter about it all the time.
Right.
You don't. Yeah. It's like the
you do, but it's behind the closed doors.
Right.
It's where no one else is paying attention, because everyone is ashamed.
They're ashamed, you said?
Yeah, that's it. It's the stigma, man. That's because of this, Herbert. Because they make you feel, they put you in. So you're not an abuser or neglector at all. None of us are here on this show. So, but they put stuff in those documents that make you, even if it's just, it was an innocent, you went and had ice cream with your child and someone said you left your child at the picnic table. They will portray it in such a way that you left your child there, that you are made to look like, you are Ted Bundy, for God's sakes. They just shame you so bad that you just can't, and no one, like you said, no one talks about it. No one wants to talk about it. It's not being brought up. So you have no support. I'm thankful that we do what we do, and I have a group, so I can talk about these things every day, and I can turn my anger into, instead of packing it down and, sitting in a garage waiting to blow up, I have this platform to come out, and I come out and I talk, and hopefully I help other people. But that's the thing, this is getting us out and talk, but like you can even see from the amount of viewers that we have. Which guys, please, if you can tell a friend about us, please do. But this is just you just don't care. You're absolutely right. Until it happens to you, that's when you realize what's going on. You're absolutely right. I didn't know about it. I really didn't. All I knew is if CPS gets a hold of you, you're probably a bad parent. That's what I'm saying. CPS gets a hold of you, you must be a bad parent. And I don't want to hear anything more of that. And I'm ashamed to say that that's what I was, but that's what I was until it happened to me. I didn't think there was ever a chance in God's earth that they would be taking my child from me or my wife. I didn't even think that even when it was going on, I thought that the cavalry was going to come, screech the machine. I thought I was the only person in the world that was going through this. I really did. I'm like, wow, justice has got to be able to see that this is what's going on. Justice has got to be able to come here and wave that flag and like come right out and, save us, someone. No one came, man. That American flag didn't come with a man on the horse and waving the flag, running up behind it, saying, "You're wrong, Your Honor. You're wrong, caseworker." No one came. Not a damn person came. And we need to make sure that we start letting everybody know that, oh boy, we're coming. You're taking children, we're coming. Because they're not going to get away with this anymore. Once we can start to do that and we can get that message across so people feel okay to come out and talk about it, then maybe the buzz will pick up. But until then,
Yeah.
that's the way it seems that it is.
Yeah. So it's just, like I said, it's like there's an elephant in the room, but nobody sees it.
Yeah, and it's a huge elephant.
Yeah. Since I've been with you guys, I realize how huge it is.
I mean, how long have we been doing this now, me and you?
I've been with you for about almost a year.
Right. So let's just say a year. Let's maybe you've been
Since
there
my
for a year.
cousin. So how long has my cousin been with you?
Oh, for a long, long while. So let's just say this year, 500,000 kids since you've been with me have been removed from their family and never gone home.
Huh?
500,000 children have been removed from their homes and never returned since you and I have hooked up and been doing this. That's a huge number.
But they talk about parents are abusing or whatever to their children. The children's not safe with the parents. But yet when you take the kid away, especially at a young age, like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years old, are you not mentally causing a problem to that child? Because it's like, where's mommy? Where's daddy? Why am I with you? Who are you?
What do they tell them? What do they tell them? What do they tell people?
Whatever they tell the child is not good enough because I want to go home now.
Yeah, you know what? That's the toughest thing. That's the hardest thing when you're going to your visits, when you get that 1 hour a week with your visit with your kid and you're in there and all they want to do is go home with you. That's all they want to do is go home.
Yeah, I want to go home with you now.
And if you say, if you can't say anything, now if you say something, they will stop your visits. If you make a comment, say, "Oh, it's not my fault, honey. It's these people. They're not letting you come home." They will stop your visits. You are not allowed to tell these children the truth, even though in the DHS handbooks, one of the number one rules is don't lie to a child. See, they don't even follow their own freaking rules.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
So, it says don't lie to the child. You should always tell the child the truth. Let them know what's going on. That way that they can be, because listen, they're really the victims in all of this. So you've really victimized the victim. That's all they've done.
Exactly.
What the fuck do these kids do? Nothing.
The kids didn't do anything.
Right. And they're getting moved from home to home, getting treated God knows how. All they want to do is go home.
All the kid wants to do is go home and play with their toys.
Yep. Be back with their mom and dad. I always refer to the University of Baltimore study. That's a great one to have. It's called the effects of removal or something along those lines. But look it up. I think I even have it on here on my thing. But it's the harm of removal is the name of the study. It was done by the University of Baltimore. It's about 100 pages, man. And it'll tell you everything that you need to know about the child being removed, what it does to it. The study was done for a long period of time. They had a lot of input into it. It was a very well done study. And the number one thing that they say is even if a child is being abused, do not remove them from their home. That's what their reports. That's what their recommendations. Now, obviously, if the child's being locked into the closet, and it's there's obviously a degree of abuse that you can't get away with doing that. But in overall, if it's just frivolous, I don't even want to say frivolous because that's not right to say that. But if it's just a spanking here and there, maybe you're a little harsher, and the corporal punishment stuff or capital whatever, that stuff's not capital punishment. That's killing them. Corporal punishment. If you're a little heavier at spanking them or whatever, they still say leave them in the home because the trauma that is caused to them by taking them out of there is way worse. And why aren't they listening to these things? There's all kinds of studies that go out there and say this stuff. Why is DCYF, DCF, CPS, whatever they are, why aren't they listening? There's only one reason that would make me think that someone wouldn't listen to all these other people. That's money. It's just money, man.
Well,
And
they're
that's what
getting
these
paid to work. They're getting a salary to do a job, right?
yeah.
But
They
I
get
think that,
benefits,
yeah,
bonus.
benefits. But I think there should be they need to really look hard at the guidelines because it's
Yeah.
hurting the child. Because it is hurting the child.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100% wholeheartedly. I don't think you're going to find a person out here that's going to disagree with you on that. It's disgusting. It's just sickening. Yeah, it should, Carrie. That study, Carrie says that study should be used in appeals on TPR. It absolutely should be. Here's Melissa's back here. Melissa, have you ever read the harm of removal, that study that I talk about all the time? Melissa,
I think I think you told me a lot about it, but I don't think I ever actually read it.
yeah, it was one of at the time. It was one of the only documents out there that was doing what they were doing and stepping across the line into the world of the actual abuse and neglect that's going on, or so-called abuse and neglect that's going on. And these people are like, "Nope, you're doing it all wrong." Now, I don't know what kind of leverage that played. I know that there was a big kumbaya thing in a park in Washington, D.C. A year or two ago, but I mean, I don't know how else it flows around, but you should definitely check that out. You should definitely check that out. It's
Absolutely.
and I don't know why Carrie's right. I don't know why they don't use this in the cases. I don't know why that study isn't like on the front page of every caseworker should have that study. Every one of them. Every one of them should have that on the front of their books.
Well, the biggest problem with the caseworkers in general is the fact that, a social worker is, their education background is to work with families, work with children, better the situation. Okay. Now, you take a social worker and place them into DHR, they're taught to use the skill to befriend the family they work for. They're not taught the procedures in the book. They're not taught, how to identify true abuse or neglect. They're only taught how to use their social work or understudies type background to become your best friend. So that when they break the procedures, you don't think they're a bad person, and to say it with the authority so that you think they have the ultimate power, because we are all brainwashed to be law-abiding ass kissers when the department has no more authority to walk in and steal your children than the pedophile 3 blocks away.
You're right. They have no authority to. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Until you contract yourself with them and get them, they make you sign that safety plan.
But even in contract with them, unless they get a contract signed by a judge, they still have no authority. the safety plan is not a true authority. That's you saying you'll cooperate. Okay, and when you, part of the Title IV funding, and this is one of the things that me and Yancey was talking about the other day. He says, look, the argument for their funding is that you cooperate with services. He says, even if you don't successfully complete them, when they asked you to do them, did you cooperate? He says, okay, so they've lost the argument of failing to cooperate.
Right.
And, like he says, when you enter into a service plan, if you immediately butt heads with them right off the rip, they're going to immediately run to the judge. Your Honor, they're being mean to me. They won't listen to what I tell them. So the judge is going to be the big bad bully here. Let me protect you. Let me sign an order.
Yep.
Okay. But at one point, throughout my learning about CPS, I used their safety plan against them. During the time of a safety plan, because I was put on a 2-week safety plan, when one of my younger sons was born, I used that time to go down and get my cousin a consented guardianship, which gave her more authority over the kid than the department, because I was only on a safety plan and it didn't hold any legal binding authority. And I was able to outsmart them in Michigan. And because if I would have immediately butted heads with them, they would have just handed me on my ass. It was a birth match. So I knew I was going to have to fight them from day one. Well, two people can play the game of being their best friend. So I acted like their best friend, and I used their safety plan against them. I took a guardianship. Within a year, my son came home. Case was dismissed. Everything was good. Because I used their own policies and procedures against them, which is what a lot of us parents need to start doing.
Right. That's the whole idea, because truth be known, these statutes and regulations and all this stuff are meant for them. They're not even meant for us, but they're turning them around. I had someone explain to me the other day that in all actuality, if you look at it, and they actually showed me this, the things that they're pushing on us are actually the things that are being requested and required of families that are trying to get approved for foster licensing. But these are what the rules and regulations that they're pressing on us as parents to file in these safety plans, and then to go further with the reunification stuff. They match them hand for hand. I'll show you that later on when you get home. I'll get in touch with you. I'll show you this. It's amazing. And it actually, I found, they gave me a link, so I actually have the policy manual of the actual state of Maine policy manual, and I'm sure we can get it for your state too, like the policy manual that they follow. Hey, Carrie asked if we've ever watched the channel, what is it? I'm gonna mess this one all up. Caps and Stu's Law. He's a lawyer and shows the videos of depots he has done when using CPS for parents. It's incredible the things he reveals and how much he exposes. No, I've never watched Caps and Stu's Law. I'm definitely gonna have to check that out now. And
same here. Any bit of knowledge is always useful.
Yeah, maybe we need this stuff. I mean, every
I listen to Vincent time and time again talk about how to use their procedures against them, and like all of his short clips, that's like the biggest thing he says is use their procedures against them. So I thought about it, and at the time Kim was over visiting, and we sat down. She was looking up the CPS procedures for our state. I was looking up the statutory laws for our state. And of course, we already knew the rules behind 72-hour hearings, so on and so forth, to be able to compare it to our federally protected, U.S. Supreme Court stuff. Right. So we got to looking, our CPS manual for Alabama says that they need to do essentially the 72-hour hearing within 14 days. Our state law says they need to do it within 7 days, but our federal law says we need to do it within 72 hours.
Right.
So
Which is why they call it,
what we found is, I would say, a good 25% of what they use against you in the very beginning as they investigate is an absolute violation of our state's statutes. And over and above that, even the ones they match to the state statutes, a lot of times are in violation of what the U.S. courts have ruled as a standard, or your state appeals court has ruled. So really, I'm one of those people that I can't consistently afford an attorney, and luckily, I'm good friends with the attorneys I have now, and they're working with me. But for all of the parents that can't afford an attorney, start downloading the user's manual of CPS for your state, and start comparing it to your state statutes. Because there is so much out there and so much case law that deems them, like I was saying earlier, where they shit canned all the workers in my case. I was looking, and immediately 7-8 case laws popped up that says when they do this and they make the previous workers unavailable so that it becomes a biased argument, that in protection of law and fairness, it speaks of the fairness doctrine. It says in protection of it, the case must be dismissed. I found at least 6 cases right off the rip that had been ruled that way by the Civil Court of Appeals for the state of Alabama. And I was finding them for the Supreme Court too, and I was finding them under the federal courts. So this is a common procedure that they use. Get you to the finish line and hurry up and shit can everyone that can say anything good about you. The caseworker I have now is the one where the previous workers came to me and straightforward told me that she is writing lies and she is deceiving the workers that work with me to make everyone think that I am this dangerous, horrible person and they need armed guard protection.
Right.
What? Because I'm going to shake their hand and kill them with kindness? Because, if I walk out there and say, hey, you're a bitch, get off my property. Well, she ain't going to tell me anything of any worth. So I'm going to invite her in. I'm going to offer her a glass of sweet tea. I'm going to ask her if there's anything she needs. And I'm going to make her feel right at home, because by doing that, I got the previous worker, the one they just shit canned. She says, Melissa, she says, I can't offer your daughter services in your home because we, the department, are afraid that the judge will turn around and recommend returning the other kids.
Right.
And she didn't mean to say that, but because she was comfortable and we were just in general open conversation, it fell out, and I happened to record it.
Perfect. Excellent. Whoa.
I was going to say we're getting close to our time, but, we definitely need to use the procedures.
Yep.
I have a question for Carrie, because I know we're getting close to time.
Yes.
And that is, where can I listen to this lawyer or attorney? On what thing? Like on YouTube, or where can I like to listen to him?
It's your boast. Yes, you're right, Carrie. While we wait for that, you're right, Carrie. None of us do our own research. None of us do anything until it's too late. We're always behind the ball. Like, that's another question, and that leads to another show topic. But how do we get the preemptive education to the people that aren't involved in CPS right now and don't think that they ever will be? That's a great question. And that's for a whole other show topic.
Okay, well, what I want to know from Carrie is where could I listen to this attorney?
Well,
Remember she posted something
yeah,
before
she's working on it.
about the lawyer?
She said yes, he's on
Oh,
YouTube. Yes,
He's on YouTube?
yeah, on YouTube. On
Okay.
YouTube, Herbert. On YouTube.
Okay, so I took a snapshot of his name and I'll look it up on YouTube.
Yep. Hey, Herbert, one more question for you. Did you get to look into that American Safe Families Act that I sent you?
No, I didn't get that.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, I'll resend it to you. Yeah, I wanted, because that goes hand in hand with the money for the children that the government has placed in so that they can adopt kids out faster, to show where that went along with those other things. But I'll let you look at it first before we have that discussion. Melissa, do you have anything else that you want to say?
No. I think that maybe in our future shows, maybe we should start working on some education things, start teaching families how to look this up and how to come speak out, because people just need to be aware. It's not something to be ashamed of, because now it's 1 in 3 households. You know, so if it ain't your neighbor to the right and it ain't your neighbor to the left, it's one of their neighbors that they have a family involved in the system, and we all need to quit being ashamed and we need to quit dividing, because only in staying together can we win.
Right. I mean, if we're losing a kid a minute.
And I like to piggyback on Melissa. I like to piggyback on Melissa and say that the family to the right and the family to the left may not know somebody, but they do know somebody that knows somebody.
That's right. 6 degrees.
You get my saying?
Yep, the 6 degrees.
Everybody knows somebody that knows somebody.
Yep.
Knows.
That they don't know that's involved with CPS.
Right. I know that you know that I know that you know. You know?
Right.
Well, I don't know that you know, but you know that you know somebody else.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, we need to start taking a more active approach in paying attention to the bills they're trying to pass, to the legislation. Just because it sounds good, the title of it sounds good, read the article, because it may sound like it is something to give your kid a free trip to Disney World at the end of school. Yeah, but maybe they have to spend 6 months in the system and jump through the hoops sideways, and maybe only in the foster home do they get that. You know, the thing is, we need to open our eyes. We need to read. We need to pay attention, and we need to quit listening to the words.
Right. We need to understand the words and bring them in and make sure we know what they are. Absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you very much for coming on tonight. Appreciate it every night. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow night at 9-ish, 20-ish, that time that we do. But thank you guys very much for coming on tonight. Melissa, have a good, safe trip home. Herbert, I'll talk to you in a little bit. And let's see. Carrie, thank you so much for being on with us every night. That's really awesome that you do that. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. And Connie, if you're listening, thank you very much for allowing us to read and educate us all tonight, to pay attention to the Tennessee bill that they've tried to make sound so glorious, that we found through your education is not. Guys, pay attention to what we're doing. Keep CPS out of your house. Smile. Tell someone that you love them. I don't know what else to say about that. So as for that, I'm the CPS Punisher. I'm getting out of here. You guys, I'm way off on this right now. Sorry about this. Sorry for the delay. Thought I had it right there. I don't. All right, try this again. I'm CPS Punisher. And it might work and it might not. All right, ready one more time. Last time. Hey, I'm CPS Punisher. I'm out of here. Good night.